Hello everyone and welcome to the Deeply Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deeply Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 298. Yeah, 298. We're almost to 300, guys. Shenanigans! Today is Sunday, December 8th, 2019, and I'm glad you could join me today. I'm still sort of amused by the shenanigans. I was like, am I on 300? No, I'm not on 300 yet. So I change, or what would it be like? I sort of reuse my little text block, and because I'm a lazy editor. Let's get this right. But I was getting ready to start, and then I noticed that there was like this giant lump in my jeans, and I realized it was my headband, and that I had definitely got out in public with the headbands stuck in my little jeggings. So I'm gonna edit that out. Or I will edit it and reinsert it at the end, because it was just like, what's going on? I don't know. I always like it when people include outtakes, so I'm gonna have to do that now. There's always like a brief moment, like I have like my rituals, so be the case where I like hit record and then I take my sip of my drink and then I like open up my eyes and smile, and that's where I cut. I like take like a deep breath or something like that, and then after the deep breath I cut to start the podcast. And then I also do probably a little edit at the end to take out me like clicking to say stop. So, but I don't know what to do when I need to like stop in the middle and stuff like that, so whatever. So it's been fairly crafty week, I feel like. I'm not so sure about in terms of visible progress though. Like, there's been much working with yarn, but it doesn't seem like I have a lot to show for it. So I ended up going to the local yarn store twice this week. Regular knit night did not come together, which is unfortunate, but not too much I can do about that. So while I was at knit night, So at some point I finished knitting one of my black skeins. So this is the V-neck boxy Ahohi Locatelli pattern that I'm knitting out of Shibui Knits Silk Cloud and Shibui Knits Pebble. So the Silk Cloud is Abyss and the Pebble is Blueprint. And it's making this gorgeous fabric. But it took like, okay, one shouldn't pick up stitches while watching anime with subtitles. You have to look at what you're doing, and I don't understand Japanese. I know when they say arigato. It makes me feel like I know one word in Japanese. You would think I would pick up on other words? I just know arigato. So I picked up stitches. I got everything nice and even out. I knit quite some time on it. I counted. I realized that I probably shouldn't do decreases based on the number that I picked up. And then I tried it on Wednesday. It must have been the case where I was doing this on Sunday and then knit a few days on it and then realized that it was terrible and then had to rip back mohair. So I sat down and did the calculations, and I had picked up 52 stitches. Oh dear, this crazy hair is crazy. Oh, it's just, I don't know where it's coming from. Oh, I guess it's somewhere in front. Okay. So I was short 10. So I was like more than an inch smaller than I needed to be for my measurements, which is bad. So I went back, I fudged a little bit, so I went to the row right before the pickup and then added stitches until I got to 64, which is what I needed for my gauge and my arm circumference. And like the sleeve looks pretty decent. It's not the most perfect pickup ever. It's rather challenging. It's possible that some of these funny little bits are like ones that I ended up dropping because I didn't think I needed. There was one, like this side picked up beautifully, and this side was hell on wheels. It was awful, and I was doing it while trying to watch anime. Bad idea all around. So I don't even. But I realized that this isn't completely mindless knitting because I have to work however far and then make a couple of increases, and like the rows are short-ish. At the moment it's like I'm doing the knitting equivalent of normal socks. So every 15 rows seems to come faster than I expect because I'm just whizzing around on this teeny circle. So, and this still isn't seamed up yet. I'll do that later. Maybe when I cut the yarn. And when I do seam, I will probably use both of them, even though that's going to be a pain in the butt. Because the pebble, while gorgeous and thicker, is not nearly as strong as the silk cloud is. The silk cloud, like, adds so much magic to this, it's not even funny because it's adding the strength of the silk and the fluff of the mohair, and it's, I think this is what's really making the project. And then just a little bit of the light and dark from the pebble, I think, is, would it be, that's like its magic, and that's whatever. So it's given it some body, and it's given it a little bit of tweediness to it. I guess that would be the best way to describe it. So I would just do the black by itself, but I don't think that's going to work very well either for a quick little seam, but who knows. I tried to be very, very careful about, I made sure to be very careful that I didn't do anything silly there. So yeah, it's not the prettiest edge, but I'm gonna trust in the fluff right now. So one thing that I had been debating about was whether or not I wanted to have accent colors on this, and one of the debates was also whether or not I was going to have the mohair silk held with. Based on my extensive handling of this project, the mohair silk's definitely going in because it just feels so good, basically. And then I believe I'm actually going to do ribbing for this. I've done a couple of projects with garter edges, and several of them I've really liked and enjoyed. But I have been, and then two of those projects are right now in regular rotation. So one of them was the linen vitamin D I just finished, and the other one was my original V-neck boxy. And I've just noticed that the garter doesn't hold its shape as well, so I don't know if that's the case, or I just have to like drop a ton of needle sizes in order to make that look right. But I think I just want to have ribbing because it'll hug nicely. So, and the 9-inch circ is just a little bit smaller than what the fully stretched fabric looks like. So I need to add like another teeny circ to it in order to try it on. So I think I'm to the point where I do need to try it on and just make sure everything's going okay. And I'm almost done with another one of these little mohair silk balls, so that's cool too. I think I have 5 total of those. So it continues on. Yeah, it looks like still doing okay there. So that is that. It has received a decent amount of love. I just keep shimming it every so often to make sure my other needles don't come out of it. And I do have another one of the balls still connected, which is slightly annoying, but better than having a join where I don't need a join. So I'll have to figure out whether or not this is to the right length yet. I think I'm okay with having it actually go fairly far, for which maybe it's close, so maybe if I added ribbing I would be about there. I don't know, it's not like I have, or what would it be? I have a negative ape index, my arms are, my wingspan is 2 inches less than my height, like, but I don't want full sleeves, so, oh, whatever. So that is proceeding. There was a little bit of back and forth there. I have gotten to the point where I have recovered my light frogging. Uh-oh, that's because there's a ball in there. Okay. I was gonna say, it seemed like I was down a wound ball, but it's better now. So, the other thing that got some love, but maybe not nearly as much love as the past week, is my Joris. So this is, whatever, a super cute little pattern. What did I do? I bought safety eyes. They only had the, like, massive safety eyes, and I just concluded that I would go with it. So, for this guy, they're fairly large. For this one, they seem to be a little bit closer. Oh, they seem a little bit closer to proportional. But I figure that ends up giving it a lot of good personality. So, it makes it look more like a critter. So I still have basically all of the limbs to do. Also, the case where working several, or having to count several rows, and I might actually rip back to the elbows because it seems like there's something weird going on right now. So there's something weirdo going on right now. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. I ended up putting it down when I was at the local yarn shop yesterday because I was like, this is gonna take some thought. So this one is Undead Yarn in the DFW Fiberfest colorway, and then this one is Sun Valley Fibers in the Rendezvous colorway. And Jeanette does not dye variegated anymore. She's all in on semi-solids and very luxurious bases. And this is like a straight up merino, or what would be a straight up like merino nylon sock yarn. And I believe this one is also a merino nylon sock as well. So going to turn out really fun. Nice little critters. But I did not have nearly as much knitting time this week as I did last week. Like work. Amazing. So, and this is living in my SSK prize bag, so that's cool. And I really pretty desperately need to singe the ends on this because it's just going to disintegrate otherwise. So, nice little set there. Alright, I did end up spending a pretty decent amount of time spinning this week. And it was all on my Jenny the Fleece project. So I managed to do several things yesterday. So I was able to finish my teal singles, spin all of my purple singles, and then I started plying them together. So this is purple, purple, teal, and right now I have it on my blue bobbin. I may have to run this through again because it seems like it's overplied in some places and underplied in others. And I think that just had to do with how closely I was paying attention to spinning it. So the stuff that I did later almost maybe looks a little bit underplied. And then the stuff that I did earlier looks pretty overplied to me. So I'm gonna have to balance that out somehow. So it'd be the case where I would need to spin on my jumbo bobbin if I wanted to have a lower ratio than I have, because I'm on the lowest ratio of my regular flyer. So the only thing that I could do would be move my feet slower or move my hands faster, and apparently I wasn't doing either of those things. Or I wasn't doing that, at least for most of the spinning. I ended up watching a decent number of movies to get through all of this. So I'm definitely liking the more lightly plied version. So I think that's closer to the yarn I really wanted to have, and this overplied stuff is going to bias and it's going to be bad. So so that brings me up to 3 completed bobbins. So this is 2 parts teal, 1 part blue, and this one is 2 parts teal, 1 part purple. So they all look fairly similar on the camera. So it's you could probably say that these guys are adjacent to each other in terms of the gradient, but the purple is coming out all wrong on the camera. So it's not super terrible. It's more pink in real life. So it'd be the case where I'm very interested in how this is going to end up knitting up in the final project. I would say this was probably the color combo that I was most concerned about, and I think it works, so that's good. What's next on my wheel, because I haven't started yet, because I figured, whatever, is so the last one I'm going to do before I wind off or zhuzh, as the case may be, is I'm going to do my teal blue blue. So sadly, I was a little bit more ruthless when it came to separating. I just have like a giant thing of. So I do not have as much blue overall, but this is very lovely blurple, my teal, and more of this purpley color. So this one's gonna be, this is probably gonna be my favorite combo. And I think, or what would it be? And then I would have, so after I do that one, I will have, or what would it be? That'll be up to 4. I have 9 total combinations. So the last, or what would it be? I'm not sure what I'm going to end up spinning next after this one. Whatever. So, What would it be? It may be that I do the other combo one. So that would be 2 parts blue, 1 part purple, and get that one rolling. Should be good. Yeah. And then I will have solid ones to do after that. So I did end up breaking into one of my teal mini balls of singles because I ended up running out of the teal first when I was making this one, which I'm surprised about. Something weird must have happened, I don't know. Because in terms of weight, I should have had more teal than purple, but maybe I just spun the purple thinner. Also possible because the hackle prep on the teal wasn't my best work. Many mean things happened to the teal fiber. So I still have a little mini ball. I have one other mini ball left of the teal, and that can be incorporated into this next one if I run low on the teal, which I find to be highly doubtful, or my final skein is probably going to incorporate in the end because my final skein will be all teal. So it'll be fun to see how that comes up. So I may wait on changing the twist on this skein until afterwards, as you do. So not too crazy, but definitely the case where going through the whole process of this is probably 1 week's worth of work. And let's put it that way. So it'd be the case of spinning the singles, and applying them all together, sort of, I don't know, about a week's worth of spinning for me if I actually get time on my wheel. So it's possible that next week that won't be a possibility because I don't necessarily have crafting time that whole block. Definitely in the throes of what would it be? Holidayness. Or what would it be? I'm definitely gonna be that person that shows up to the potluck with nothing, and I'm okay with that. Because I don't want to cook. So that is the story there. So seeing as we're heading into the 2nd week of December, and I have 5 more of these bad boys to spin, and it's gonna take me at least a week to do each of them, and I'm not even gonna be here for one of those weeks in December. Whatever. It's not gonna happen by the end of the year. It was a good thought, but such is life. So that is all of that content, and then it's going to be sort of lengthy stashquisitions. Was I intending to buy yarn? No. So the owner of the local yarn store is winding down her business. She decided she wanted to retire. She couldn't secure a buyer. So it was one thing when like the yarn was like 20% off. It's now made it to 45% off. And I managed to resist succumbing on Wednesday, but I did not resist on Saturday. I started like looking at the colors, and basically I didn't really edit very well. So I sat down and I figured out how much would it be with the current prices to knit a blue shimmer Bohus in Shibui, and it was quite reasonable to do so. And then I had wanted to try to do it in the Pebble, but it turned out that there just there weren't enough colors left in order to make that work. So, what would it be? And then I also decided to throw in yarn for a pimentone. So that was a linen top that I didn't have a chance to make. Or I ended up using the yarn that I bought for my pimentone for a different project. So, let me appropriately stage the yarns, because it's a decent amount. Alright, where are you? Oh. I think I'm having some trouble because I have duplicates in colors. So I'll start with the pimentone yarn. So this is Shibui Knits Reed. It is their 100% linen fingering weight, and I ended up getting 3 colors to knit that. So purple is going to be my main color, and then yellow and this blue are going to be my my contrast colors. So I figured that that was going to look very, very nice all together. So I ended up getting pollen, velvet, and shore in order to do that. And I definitely played around a lot with the various colors and then decided that this was going to be pretty nice. So this is a fingering weight linen, and then definitely have ample yardage for this, and it appears to be a chainette construction, so that's going to help an awful lot with linen's fatal flaw, which is that if it's plied, it biases. So there is that palette there. So I'm really excited about that, because what would it be? For some reason I was very much so into the yellows for this. And then the other thing that I ended up getting was I really did love how the Pebble looked, and really wanted to find a way in order to do something color work with it. So I ended up getting these 5 skeins to make something that was sort of that jewel tone gorgeousness. So this is all Pebble. It is so I have tar, Bordeaux, Grove, Blueprint, and pollen. So once more, just would it be, definitely felt like I ended up getting some good differences there. And it's possible that I may end up using the tar in my boxy instead of whatever color I have. Because I think I would actually want to have a lighter gray. They just didn't have a lighter gray, but I knew I had a lighter gray at home in the pollen. So, and it's possible that I could even incorporate that lighter gray into whatever project I decide to do. So, and if all else fails, the blueprint could end up in my boxy if I need more yardage options. And then, what would it be? This was the one where I was like, trying to figure out if I could make it work, and doing a lot of swapping of skeins. So there was an awful lot of the Sema left. So Sema is a 70% super baby alpaca and 30% merino blend, and it feels amazing, and it came in many, many colors. And what would it be? So it's 328 yards per 50 grams, and I figured that I could, after I sort of like tried it with the pebble and didn't work, and then realized that I could make something work with the Sema. That's what I ended up grabbing. So this is petal, more pollen. This guy is caffeine, and used me tremendously. Abyss. I believe that this is also, oh, this one is Imperial. It's like we have to use all of my surface area. More blueprint. Oh, the Abyss is just disappearing. This one is Suit. And then the main color that I ended up selecting was Pool. So these are 8 different colors of the Sema, and then ample supply of these guys. So in order to make this work, I'd actually need to hold it doubled, but I think that that'll end up being fine. But I just sort of put together this palette because I thought everything ended up working out pretty nicely. I did have more of the reds before, but I ended up dropping them. So it was sort of the case where I really liked the ones that were more rainbowy, and this I felt ended up making a very nice rainbow indeed. So black sort of disappears there, doesn't it, across my, whatever, with my shirt. So I figured that this one was just sort of a fun sort of palette that could have a decent amount of the blue side of things, even though this is a very, very teal sort of one. But yeah, no, it was the case where I like sat down and I did all the calculations. I'm like, dude, like $118 including tax, and I was like, oh wow, I'm never gonna get a sweater quantity like that again. Or would it be, at least for that price. So it was the case where, because like it takes a lot of skeins in order to make that, so because I needed 8 colors. And then to sort of zhuzh together the palettes in order to make that work, in order to have the lights and the darks that I needed. So not too crazy. I did have a white in there at some point. I did have like a brick red in at some point, and then there was sort of like a teal leaning towards gray sort of color, but that wasn't the clear jewel that I was looking for, so that ended up getting tossed out. But there was definitely a lot of shuffling of skeins and like having them all laid out and like remove one, insert another, remove one, insert another, until I finally got the mix I wanted. So it's gonna be mostly this very cheerful teal color, which is very cool. And even in the grand scheme of things, it might, like in some ways it definitely feels green to me. So would it be? It'd be the case where oh, I wasn't planning on buying yarn yesterday. Oh, so this has or would it be? Like, I'm probably gonna go hang out on Wednesday as well. But I probably shouldn't succumb to the sale. There was still quite a lot of very, very nice stuff there. Especially, or would it be, there was a case where I did get up and there was quite a lot of cashmere. 100% cashmere hanging out in the front of the store. So what was it? And definitely the case where I managed to, so I was wearing my linen and vitamin D, and that resulted in one of the women buying yarn so that she could just replicate what I did. And I managed, someone was like, filled her basket and then was removing things from her basket and was like, are you not using those? Because I know someone who could. And managed to yoink and give it to the person who wanted to do that. So I was like, I got some enabling, but I just sort of tripped over myself. I was mostly just talking with the knitters on the tables to be like, what do you think? Like, how do you think this looks? So, on the yarny front, I think I managed to make sure that I had like a year of yarn with me. Or more. So, such is life. But I do want to, or would it be, it's probably going to be the case where I pull, would it be, like, it's so much shipping. So, what was it? I think there was the case where, when the cashier was ringing out, is like, you saved a lot of money here. So that I would have not put down that sort of money under a normal circumstance. So, oh well. So, let's do the end stuff. It is looking bad for recording next week unless I decide to do it on a weekday. And it's possible that what I will decide to do is, it's possible that what I'm going to end up deciding to do is maybe doing one right or whatever, I don't know, we'll see. Because Tuesday or whatever, who knows what my week's gonna look like. So it may be the case where it's like a week and a half, and then that will tie me over until the after Christmas times. We shall see. Because it's December and it's all screwed up. But I'm gonna be gone for 2 weekends in a row. So if I do a midweek one, then that can maybe get us to the end of December without too much pain. And dude, I have a lot of knitting that I need to get done before then. Oh well. There will be time, because I won't be spinning. So that's the story there, and that's where I'm leaning right now in terms of making that work out. It has been entertaining watching people do Vlogmas. I have to laugh a little bit because what would it be when I see like people who are like super into like various holidays and then be like, I'd be like, I don't know if I'm into any holidays. So, what would it be? Because I was like, well, it could be fun to do like a daily vlog. No. So, I have been enjoying what people have been doing, because at the very least it gives you sort of insight into daily life, but that, or what would it be, like, Christmas isn't my holiday. Like, I enjoy Christmas, I enjoy having time off, I enjoy spending time with people, but that's about where it stops. So, oh well, such is life. It's interesting to get a glimpse into other people's worlds, but whatever. So, that's the story there. Hopefully I can, or would it be? I'm thinking I actually have more podcasts to get caught up on, so it'll probably be a chill day of spinning for me, which is pretty cool. Probably another cup of coffee and calling it good. So, with that, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon. So, take care, guys. Bye bye.